What's going on, beautiful people of YouTube? It's Renebean, and welcome to the 2019 Game Room Tour. Alright everybody, welcome to the Game Room. It is 2019, or the end of 2019, therefore it is time to do a Game Room tour. I like to do these right at the end of the year so you can see how much has changed, things that have been added, things that have been taken away, and just the overall difference one year can make within a game room. And if you'd like to show off the game room that you got, head over to the Discord server that we got going on. It's a huge retro gaming community filled with a bunch of collectors as well as resellers. If you ever wanted to learn how to resell as well as just collect, that's the place to do it. So I'll leave a link in the description as well as a pinned comment. It's a great place to show off pictures of the finds that you get as well as the awesome game rooms that you guys got out there. So without further ado, let's see what we got in this game room. So I figured we can start over here in the corner with the door closed. This is kind of the weirdest area, I suppose. This is different. This is now where I keep my PSP games, 3DS games, DS games, PSP movies, you know, the UMDs. I keep them right here and they actually work out pretty well right there. I can't fully open the door because of this right here, and some long-time viewers will actually know this is like the first tripod that I used when I started making YouTube videos, and I keep it as, just, it's part of the Renebean history. Obviously, I'm using a real tripod now. I'm actually holding the camera with it now. Something like that, I just couldn't give up. But anyways, you can see we got a crazy collection of UMDs. It's an awesome thing to collect for. If you've ever had one of those experiences where the power is completely out, maybe you don't have your laptop charged up or whatever device you're using, watch a classic UMD movie on the PSP. The quality's actually really nice with the smaller screen. Throw you some headphones in, it's a good experience. Moving over, that's where we got my 3DS games, my DS games. I don't have the biggest 3DS collection. Actually, it used to be bigger, but some things have been condensed down. You'll find that a lot of newer stuff that I have, I'm kind of in the process of getting rid of it just because I find it so often at yard sales and flea markets and whatnot. For whatever reason, I don't know why I don't have any posters hanging on the door. As you saw from the intro, I got a couple Nintendo Power posters hung up. People will probably hate me for that. They're like, wow, how the hell could you rip that out of the magazine? Well, easily, because I like it to be seen instead of sitting in a closet somewhere, as you're going to see here in the future. My wife was really kind and picked all these Hot Wheels Super Mario cars up for $1 a piece, and I guess the price kind of went up on them, but she got the whole set for me, which was very nice. I guess she paid $8 for all those, so that's a really nice pickup. So one of the bigger changes in the game room is, look how many NES games I got left. I actually sold, hell, I have no idea, over 200 NES games, maybe more. I honestly, I never kept count. What I did is I kept all the games that I wanted, or games that had sentimental value to me. And you may look at this collection, you may be like, oh, that, there's some great titles in there. Or like, why the hell did you pick that game? It's got purpose to me in some weird way. Maybe there's a relatable story, something I grew up with. But this is the collection that I wanted, and I did this because, in order to grow this game room, it's so cluttered. I got to get rid of some things in order to add some things, as you're going to see later on, and that's worked out perfectly. I traded a lot of those games away to get things that I wanted, and the games that have sold, I've put that right back into the collection. So this NES collection right here is good for me. It's a great system, don't get me wrong, but you also got to agree it's got a lot of terrible titles on it. Right beside that, I got my original Game Boy games. That's not all of them. That's just some that I put on the shelf. Some of the easier ones to get to. If we go all the way down here to the bottom, behind this awesome shield, this was sent in. This is like some beautiful work. I'll show you another piece that was sent in as well from the same person. This is the Deku shield from Ocarina of Time, and the quality of this is just absolutely amazing. I mean, you can see it looks weathered and whatnot. It's just a really nice piece, and I'm definitely very happy to have that. But behind that, in these bags right here, you got the Sega Game Gear bag, some other bag right there. These are both full completely of Game Gear games, as well as all those boxes back there are filled with GBA games, GBA Color, and some more original Game Boy games. But the biggest reason, obviously, that I wanted to get rid of a bunch of NES games, not only to add stuff to my collection, is I had this goal to build this horror shrine, in a sense. It's just, survival horror-based games that I loved, that I've enjoyed, and I did it. And I did a whole episode on this, and it turned out so good. I'm very happy with this. I don't really collect a lot of vintage toys. I do got a few, but, nothing to really, say that I'm a collector of them. I'm a bigger fan of the games, obviously. But as you can see, the way that this V-style shrine turned out, just turned out absolutely amazing. We got all, the Resident Evil series. I believe I have, every single one. There might be some that are still on the shelves that I didn't have room for. Coming down, you got the GameCube series. And then just, other horror titles that they had to go on the shrine. That's just the way that I felt about it. Then, of course, there's going to be games on here that you'd be like, why didn't you put that on here? I don't have the room. I mean, as you can see, I was able to fit what I could on here, and it turned out really well. I'm very excited. It's really nice to come in here and see this survival horror shrine versus a bunch of NES games that I was not going to be playing. I play a lot of horror games, and this is just definitely a really cool feature to the game room. Down at the base of the shrine, you can see, you'll find that I have a lot of console boxes, a lot of complete box consoles. See a Model 3, the standard controller deck for the NES, and then we got a power set. I actually got 2 power sets, some Goosebumps back there, which I try to collect for. I just never really find them that often. Now this is something that I am most likely going to change and get rid of, and that is this, it's actually a nail polish rack, but I'm going to probably take it out. It's great to display, handheld games. I got Game Gear games, some GBA games, Color, and original Game Boy, of course. The biggest problem I found with it is if you actually like to play the games, which I do, you can see they're all scattered around. When you pull one out, sometimes one can fall. I don't know. And plus, I can utilize this space for something else. And as you can see how I did the Horror Shrine, how it does that V, I can do the same thing with the NES games and actually just use this shelf for something else. So I'm considering that. So don't think that's going to be a permanent feature of the game room right there. So as you can see, I got LED lighting throughout the game room. It looks really nice, obviously, with the lights out. It's a great feature. Very easy to install. If you want to know more about it, I got a video in one of my vlogs that goes over it in detail. Now you can see this red lighting back here is not the easiest in the dark, like if you wanted to actually look at some of this stuff. But luckily, you got a remote. You can change all sorts of colors to it, and I find that obviously white's going to do the best for it. If I can, there we go. And that completely changes it and makes it, very nice and visible. I don't have the lights on in this room, and I can still go around and, pick out something if I wanted to. Alright, so moving over here to the Super Nintendo collection, we're going to start up with some big box games. We got the Mario Paint, as well as Earthbound. It does have the scratch and sniff, as well as the cartridge is in mint condition. At least for me it is. But this box, believe it or not, is a repro. It was sent in from a buddy of mine, and the quality on this thing, I don't really want to pull it down, but it is absolutely amazing. As you can see, this shelf right here, for the people who have not seen my channel, I built all these shelves in this game room. I'm not a carpenter. It's not 100% perfect, but it looks good enough for me, and, a lot of people like it. I'm proud of it myself, and the way that I wanted to design this game room, as you can see, is to have kind of like an aisle in which this one does, and in order to do that, I had to build this double-sided shelf completely from scratch, and it turned out really nice. But starting from top to left here, we got some random Super Nintendo manuals. I like to collect them, complete them box if I can. Sometimes I only find the box, and luckily, sometimes I'll get lucky and I'll have the manual to go ahead and complete it. With a lot of my collection, I like to, put things in the forefront that are, close to my heart, fantastic games, just things that I want to stand out whenever I come into a game room and see. This shelf right here is just, some more notable titles. I got some really nice ones on the shelves themselves, but I don't want to overload this down. But, we got Harvest Moon. I actually got that complete in box. Mr. Nuts, which, I don't know, I'm kind of on the fence about getting rid of it, honestly. And I want to get over to that point of collecting games that aren't so great. There may be a fan base for Mr. Nuts, but it's not the greatest of game. But, while I can, I'll still hold on to it. I have no reason to get rid of it. It's not taking up a vast amount of room. There's things like my Atari collection, that's something that I've been considering getting rid of. I don't play the Atari. It's just more of a shelf piece for me, and I'm running out of room, so if I want to expand this game room, I'm going to have to make some changes, and that may be one of them. But as you can see, some more awesome titles as we go down here, just filled with so much hours of fun that you could have with all these games. Coming all the way down here to the base, and I'm almost got to the point, you'll see, there'll be games that are not put on the shelf quite yet. I like to save that to where, I can really make a difference. I probably got 8 or 9 that need to go on the shelf. Maybe when I get to about 20 more, I'll do that. But it's one of those collections, man. It's like I don't have a reason to downsize this collection. I'm very happy growing it. I obviously doubt I'll ever get to a complete in box or a complete set of Super Nintendo games. That's just a pricey endeavor for some of the heavy hitters. But I'll grow it and see how far I can get. And if I need to make some room, then I'll do it. But in the back of my mind, I always think I could trade that Mr. Nuts for a nice TurboGrafx game I don't have. I kind of want to get out of that mentality of, if I don't have it, just, get it and keep it. I'm trying to stay more in the mentality of, well, this is a game that I don't see myself playing, and I might want to take this game and get, a game that I would play, or get a couple games that I would play. And there's some, some big titles that I have done that with, and I found myself happier that I did so. As you'll see randomly over here, which, you may be wondering, like, what the hell this is. This is a very sharp spear, and this is like a saber sword that one of my buddies sent in from the Discord server, and the things people send in, man, actually, it's nuts. Every time I open up a package, I never know what to expect. But that's in here. If something breaks out, if someone comes in and they're only wanting my games, at least I got some sort of something for them to laugh at. So here, that's there. It's what it is. You'll see some weird stuff throughout this game room, I'm sure. All right, so turning around opposite side of the Super Nintendo games, like I said, I got a bunch of consoles that are complete in box. Some of these boxes are empty, while a lot of them, have the console and the whatnots inside. You'll find that this top shelf, this board's like 16 foot long that goes all the way across. And that was kind of like my dream whenever I was building this game room. Turned out perfectly. This is exactly what I envisioned. And I think it just turned out to look really nice. But anyways, coming over here right below, right beside the door, is my Wii collection. I know a lot of people are going to be looking at this like, you got a lot of bad Wii games. If you watch the videos, I don't know. Everybody has their own collecting goals, their own ways of collecting. For me, I collect, what I want. And I'm trying to get into the habit of collecting things that I want to play, or games that I know that are good, and not holding on to bad stuff. But I also got this weird addiction. I think that's what game collecting is a weird addiction where you collect things that you're not necessarily going to have. I mean, hell, people collect stamps, and for Christ's sake, they're never going to lick it, never going to throw it on a piece of paper. Is it so wrong to collect a game that I may not play, a game that's terrible, even though the game didn't cost me a damn thing and this hobby has made me a good amount of money? Well, no, obviously not. But again, like I said, I'm running out of room, so I do got to make changes. But however, the crappy Wii collection, it's got to stay. Anytime I find crappy Wii games, I'm going to pick them up. That's just the way it is. But I do like to keep, some good titles in the front. And there's more good titles behind it. But, we go all the way back into here and start looking at some of these things. You got Fortune Street next to G-Force. I know there's going to be someone out there like, man, Fortune Street was the business. How dare you, talk about this game? Instant dislike. I can understand it. Hell, we all got games that we like that other people don't. Moving on down the road here, I actually got to keep this little space here with some Yoshi plushies. We got DK over there about to take off, just because I got the light switch right there. I wanted to actually rig something up that came over here to the side right beside the door to where I hit it that way, but this works just fine for me. Moving down, these are actually very interesting. These, I believe, were manufactured in Mexico or possibly somewhere else. Maybe Like, I don't know. I couldn't even tell you. But look at this. Actually, look at this. Look at this Donkey Kong right here. What does this have to do with Donkey Kong? And, you know, for the Atari 2600, I got that, and I got Pac-Man. As you can see, the label art on this stuff, completely maddening. So, moving on down the line, it's just awesome. The Wii's got a tremendous amount of good games on there. I'm lucky to have as many good games as I have, and of course, I do got some bad ones in there. But it's a cool collection to collect for, and as well, you get these really awesome big box styles. You know, the Mario Kart Wii, Wii Sports Resort, Wii Play, and my God, how could anybody forget High School Musical? But I'm telling you, I collect the weird stuff now. And then moving over, I just got some other Wii paraphernalia here. Actually, that Wii's, you know, complete in box, just variants. An NES action set right there. We got the Wii Chicken Blaster here. And then moving down to the GameCube collection. That's one collection that's actually toned down quite a bit. I kept a lot of the titles that I wanted and gotten rid of a handful of them. The GameCube collection was never part of my goals in collecting. It's never something that I actively seeked out to do. I just kind of gathered them as I went. And there's a lot of other games out there that I want, so that collection's actually slimmed down quite drastically. The only amiibos I got, honestly, if they've been sent in, I'm not an amiibo collector, I don't have the room for it, but you know, something gets sent in, I'm not going to get rid of it. And then the last part of this shelf is some soundtracks, which I love collecting soundtracks. I just never come across of them that often. So the ones that I do have, I cherish quite a bit. Moving over to the PlayStation 1 category here, which, like I said, I designed these shelves to, you know, they were sized, and this one works out very nicely the way that it was designed around this game room, you know, for the CRT, the way it sits, the way it's tucked in, it just worked out perfectly. But again, you can see that I like to keep some titles, you know, up front, and that way I can remember to play them, or, you know, there's something that, you know, that holds true to my heart, something that I just like to be seen. But, you know, a lot of times, you know, you'll see things like this shelf right here has always been the same, because these are just solid titles, games that are, you know, amazing, games that I love. But you'll just see random stuff up here because, you know, I've recently picked them up and I need to try them out because I do like to play the games that I get. You know, you got shelf collectors out there, I know quite a few of them that will never touch the games that they play, but I like to at least try a game when I get it if I can. My backlog list, my God, we ain't got enough time in the day to talk about how many games are on my backlog. After I play a game, if I'm into it, it automatically goes and, oh, we're playing this, and I'm going to find time to play it and hopefully beat it. And coming down in here, you'll see a few long box PS1 games. Long box games are just absolutely amazing. I love collecting them. They're just, you know, it's substance. It may not even necessarily be a good game, but it just feels like it's a game, you know? Moving over here to the top, let's see, we got the Virtual Boy. I actually had two of these. I sold one to a buddy of mine. This one, obviously, I got it complete. I do have the box for Virtual Boy, but over here I also have the Blockbuster rental, you know, the case that's complete as well, minus the Virtual Boy, which is this one right here. It's a cool console. I don't, you know, it's a shelf piece. No, I don't think there's anybody out there who's like, man, when I get home today, I'm gonna play hours worth of Virtual Boy. It's not gonna happen. I got 3 games. I actually, you know, I came close to completing that set, minus, you know, the big heavy hitters. But then you know, like a few years, like maybe like a year and a half ago, I started getting, hell, I sold Waterworld when it was like, most I can get for it was like $60. Damn, that was a mistake, because that game went up. But I do got some titles that are really nice to play. Back behind that's a console you won't ever see action on, and that is the Hyperscan. It's a shelf piece, you know, that I picked up. I got that at a thrift store, I don't know, for a few bucks. I doubt I paid more for it than that. But it's just a neat, you know, just a neat thing to have. Coming back behind that, we got a PlayStation 1, you know, complete in box, as well as, this was sent in recently, this Taiko Drum Master. I don't have the game nor the drum with it, but the box was sent in. It's just beautiful artwork. I had to display that. And behind that, we got an original Xbox. So, I mean, there's a few systems that I'm lacking for all the consoles that I have, or a few boxes that I'm lacking for the consoles that I have. But those are going to be, you know, extremely hard to get. But I have majority of everything in box. So speaking of the consoles themselves, let's just go ahead and give us an overview here. We got the Master System. What is this? The JVC. This was sent in, and I need to do a video on this thing one of these days. What is it? The Action Max. Is it the JVC? Hell, it's something like that. It's actually the VHS. Oh, don't be falling. VHS powered gaming system right here. It's pretty wild. I can't even remember if it's going to rack my brain. But I need to do a video on that. I told him I would, and I've just yet to do it. Below that, we got the PS2, we got a Wii, we got a NES, which is actually powered. It's got Contra going on right now. Over here, we got a Super Nintendo. Everybody asks what the hell this thing is. This is for wireless controllers, which are absolutely amazing as long as nothing gets in front of this. I like to keep hats on a lot of these systems. It helps, marginally with dust, but it's better just to have it over the dust cover. It just kind of looks cool that way. Moving over to the right, we got the GameCube. We got the classic Game Boy player startup disc, complete. Mind you, this is not common at all to get with the sleeve, the case, and I believe there's a little pamphlet book in there. Of course, you got a wireless Wavebird receiver thrown in there. Coming down here to the bottom left, we got the Sega monstrosity, the 32X, Sega Genesis, and CD all together hooked up. Sega Saturn. Moving down here, we got a Game Gear that's actually I did an AV mod out on that thing, and it turned out really nice. I always meant to make like a dedicated console. It's just one of those things that I put on the back burner for so long. Moving along, we got the Sega Dreamcast, fantastic system, as well as a Panasonic 3DO right there. It works perfectly fine. All these consoles work. I don't want to have anything up here that doesn't. So if it doesn't work, I'll take it out and I'll fix it, or take it out and leave it out in hopes of getting another one. So everything that you see is obviously working, which I have to bring up for this. A lot of people get so upset when they see this is the original, I believe it was the launch 360 that came out, the white with I think I got a 250 hard drive on there. Hell, maybe like a 60 or something. I don't need much in here. There's no Ethernet cable I can run in here, so I got the actual USB Wi-Fi right here. These things are uncommon. If you're at yard sales and you see that, pick it up. They sell for a good bit. But that way, I can put some music on in here. I don't game on it, obviously. I got a modern bedroom in there, with a big 60-inch, screen, Xbox One, PS4, Switch, all that nonsense. And, that's where I'll do, high definition gaming. But in here, it's good for music. And it's great for YouTube on the TV. It's not going to be, beautiful picture or anything, obviously, because it's going to a CRT. But it gets the job done. But like I said, I mainly use it for music. But a lot of people get upset. They're like, man, that thing is going to die soon. This thing has never given me issues. I've had it for 5 years now. Not one issue. I say that now, and it's probably going to... Let's cut it on. Let's see. Are we going to get the red ring of death? Most likely not. I think it would beep. And then it would, you'd obviously see it, go all crazy. I've experienced a lot of 360s with the red ring. I don't repair them. I know that you can. It's not worth my time or hassle to mess with them. But as you can see, that Xbox works just great. A lot of people get upset because they see it laying on its side, or they see this on top of it. Let me tell you a story about the Xbox 360. I had one time. This is not my original. When this thing came out, I probably went through 4 or 5 of them. But hell, I had one that would not read disc. And in order to get it to read disc, what I did at the time... What a lot of people did is I take a controller and the second you close that tray, you start beating the hell out of the top of this thing with the edge of the controller or whatever object you can find. Hell, cat, jar, mayonnaise, it didn't matter. And it would eventually read the disc. It took a lot of tries, but it didn't come to find out it was like a very simple fix to not do that. But that's, that's how it was back in the day. And people, I swear people are considering the 360 old retro. Now you're out there damn mind. Coming down below, we got the Jungle Green N64 with, what was that? Beetle Adventure Racing in there. That's a fun game, actually. Moving over, we got the TurboGrafx 16 with the Turbo Booster Plus on the back. The Turbo Booster's, a rare find, but if you can find the Turbo Booster Plus, whoo, you done hit the money, because that is a very, very uncommon find. Not only does it give you AV out, but it has a memory backup, which is very nice. Oh, people are going to be talking about the dust. And, I can't help that. It's just what happens. Coming down over to the side, back here underneath this Atari has something that does not get a lot of play. We got the Atari 7800 back there. We got an Atari 2600, and then under that we got, the Atari 5200. I'm highly considering getting rid of my Atari collection. There'll be a few things, I will keep. I am highly considering getting rid of a lot of my Atari stuff. I don't play the 5200's terrible. God, that's such a horrible system. The 2600, there are a very slim few games that I might drink a beer and be like, yeah, let's mess around with it for a bit, but I can take that collection and turn it into something in this game room that I would see myself playing or having fun with. I don't like this stuff just sitting here collecting dust when someone else could, who might potentially enjoy it. Most likely it's going to sit on their shelves for the most part, but, there are people out there that love this stuff, and the Atari age, hell, it's not my time. I didn't grow up with Atari. I grew up with Nintendo. You know, I started collecting because, hell, I was in that phase. If I didn't have it, I'd get it. And hell, you can get Atari for cheap. But it's just one thing that I'm considering for the future. I'll keep some things, but some things got to go. Below that, we got the classic Philips CDI, and this thing, you know, it works. Actually, let me see here, pull this. I love my arcade sticks. I actually got arcade sticks for as many consoles as I can get. I love playing with them when you get you a good classic arcade game. Let's see here, check this out. Ooh, CDI. Let's see, does it open up for us? Come on. Hey, there it is. Are you going to close for me? Not all the way. Sometimes the CDI is a little finicky. I think the belts are just a little bit worn in there, but this thing works great. This actually came from the original owner, and come on now, I'm trying to show out for the camera. But it still works great. There are a select few CDI titles that I don't mind messing around with, and of course for the Zelda collection, I gotta have it. So if we're going to come over here to the actual TV itself, right beside it, well, before we talk about the TV, beside it, I got two switcher boxes that control all the systems. The first box goes to the first 7 consoles, then the last button goes over here to the other 7. The TV holds another 4 or 5 different consoles. There's I don't think any that I got to switch around cords. The hell there could be. But the TV itself is nice. This is a Sony Trinitron model, and it's done very well for me. A lot of people who, you know, are retro gamers, the Trinitron is, you know, considered one of the better TVs to get. Obviously, you know, you can get like a PVM TV, but you're not going to find one of those. Probably not for cheap. And they're usually small as hell. But this TV has done very well for me, and I enjoy it. Right up top over here, we got the arcade stick for the TurboGrafx. We got a Sega Genesis, a Sega Model 3 Mini, which is just display with a wireless Wiimote sensor bar, which actually works really well. And then just, you know, I believe the Saturn arcade stick there. So just a few random things on top. But, you know, that's how game rooms are. You'll find things that are just scattered all over the place. Little toys, hell, a Banjo-Kazooie VHS tape. Why not? And then moving down below in the actual caddy, we got some 5200 games that you don't see me picking up too often to play. Like I said, I gotta do something about the collection. It just upsets me that I have things that are just sitting when I can turn those things into things that I'm going to come in here and have a tremendous amount of fun with. But this is something that I'm very happy to have this. This is a very nostalgic toy for me. A little bit older than my time, but one that I do remember specifically having and growing up with. And this is the Radio Shack Armatron right here. And let me show you this thing. You think I'm kidding? Listen to this thing crank up. Woo, boy. Watch this. Oh, wait a second. I'm trying to do this with the... There we go. You can actually control this thing, if I can remember all the buttons here while I'm looking at this camera in the hand. You can control and pick up things, and it was just a very neat little toy. And I remember having this one specifically growing up. It's on its last leg. I'm sure you know the gears grind a little bit, but I'm happy about it. Come on, extend your arm for the camera. If I'm looking down at this thing, right? That's that way. There we go. As you can see, yeah, the arm extends out. This thing is just... This was a cool toy right here. If you were a kid, hell, it didn't matter when this thing came out. You can pick things up and put them right back down. Talk about a fantastic day. So moving over to one of, obviously, the highlight of the game room for me, and that is my Zelda collection. I'm a huge Zelda nerd, and, you know, a lot of people are, and I always tell people, you know, it's not a bad thing to like something that so many people like. It's like liking Nirvana. Sure, it's cliche. A lot of people do. You can see 8-year-old kids now with a smiley face t-shirt. I don't even know what the smiley face is about. Hell, you know, Zelda's the same way, but how can you hate something that's so good? So anyways, as you can see, you know, if it's Zelda related, I'm going to get it. I'm going to pick it up. Some of these things get sent in, which I'm very grateful for, and I'm at the point now to where I got a trade coming up, and, you know, a little spoiler alert for an upcoming episode. A trade coming up to where after this trade, I will only be lacking one Zelda game for the entire collection. And we're talking about CDI games here, people. I already got one, I'm getting another one, and I'll be missing one. So I'm happy. This was that other item that was sent in from the same person who created the shield. And this is the boomerang right here. And just the quality, man. The quality on this is unreal. It just looks so good. I've always wanted to chuck this thing, you know, whenever my cats are in something they don't need to be, just throw that right at them, but I don't want to damage it. But you know, a lot of people know, watch the channel, I call this the Zelda Shrine, and for good reason. I mean, this thing is just chock full of Zelda goodness. I'm not going to open it up, go through all of that. I'm actually got videos that go through it. It's probably a little dated now. I may be missing a few things. But it's, like I said, after this trade, I'm going to be missing one game. Coming over here, just a random Dreamcast controller box. And these two posters, it's a shame I don't have room for them. Those are beautiful, but they do look good right at the base of the shrine. I got this ottoman here, and the reason you see a towel on here is I got some pretty fat cats, and they like to leave hair everywhere, and it just kind of helps things. And inside this is actually, let me try to pull it off the side. You can see it's just filled with controllers that I use for the actual gaming that I like to do. So moving beside that is the wall of Sega, and my God, do I love collecting Sega. Sega is just, I didn't really grow up with Sega. You know, we eventually had a Sega Genesis, but I kind of went back to Nintendo, and then, you know, later on, of course, you know, after GameCube moved to Xbox, and we had a Dreamcast when it came out, but I never really dove into Sega. And, you know, later on in my adult life, as I'm really getting into collecting, or, you know, I had the chance to get these things, that Sega, man, Sega has so much goodness that I'm loving it. It's like playing a lot of these games I never had the opportunity to for the first time, which is the case. And I'm finding that there's so many games that I missed out on. So moving to the top left, as you can see, we got some really good titles. This thing up here, some weird, I don't know, DJ or something like that, DIDJ player. I got it because, hell, it's got Sonic the Hedgehog on there. I think I paid a few bucks for that. Pretty weird little handheld. Moving on over, we got some nice little figures right here. My wife picked those up for me, I think at like a thrift store. Of course, you got to have Shaq Fu. I believe someone sent that in there like, man, you got to have Shaq Fu displayed on the wall. So I displayed it. Why not? Moving on down, we got Altered Beast, Rise Star. What's behind that? TurboGrafx Express here. Castlevania Bloodlines, very awesome game. Contra Hardcores. I mean, you can see just some really solid titles. I'm missing Golden Axe too. I need to pick. It's one of those games I have not picked up. I need to pick up. Moving on down. This, I'm going to talk about this. This was sent in. Oh, good God. I've been meaning to frame it, but I wanted to have it displayed in my game room when I come in here. Someone sent this in, the old logo for the Renebean channel. This is one of the coolest things I've ever gotten. This was so humbling to pick, to open up and see. Someone would want to do that. To who did this, thank you so much. This is beautiful to me, and me and my wife got a crazy tickle out of this when we saw it, and just to have it in the game room when I come in, just to see that, it's really cool to me. So a little bit of let's say a little bit of my soft side, but that's just very awesome to have. So moving on down, we got this. Look at this. This is very cool. Watch this. Wow, that looks really nice as well. Another thing that was sent in by a buddy of mine, Mr. Vic, something positive. I know he's watching right now. Moving on over, just again, more awesome games right here. We got the classic Gumby. You can't hate Gumby. It's impossible to do so. Moving on down, we got some more Sega goodness. We got some backlit original Game Boy games. We got one 32X game, but don't worry, I got more down here. It just didn't fit on the shelf. The Sports Series Game Gear completely recapped, perfectly working. That thing is almost mint condition. It's like I've been swapping them out until I can get one in amazing quality. Moving on down here, we actually got a Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde signed by James Roth, the video game nerd himself. And of course, we can't forget the Neo Geo Pocket, which is an amazing system. Listen to this. Oh my God, that just sounds amazing. And it actually plays really well. The only downside is it's not a backlit unit. Coming on down, like I said, this is where the 32X games began. I do got a couple that are complete in box. I don't have many 32X games. I'll kind of run back through them. But I do got a handful of them. The Sega Master System collection is starting to turn out really nicely. I believe I'm about halfway to a set. I don't know how many's on that set. It's like 196, something like that, 100. I'm halfway there at least. I got some really good titles for it, and I've been enjoying collecting for it. Like I said, I didn't grow up with it. Grew up with an NES, not a SMS. So it's been a fun thing to definitely get things for. This down here now, if the Germ is watching, don't get mad that Earthworm Jim is in front of the Sega 3D glass. He always gets upset if something was right there, which I can understand. The power-based glasses are awesome. Moving on up in here into the Sega Saturn collection, which is, again, it can get pricey to collect for, but as long as you're doing it right, it's not going to cost you that much, or if anything at all, or if anything is going to make you some money. It just takes time and patience. Don't be one of those people that be like, I'll just go ahead and spend $30 on this, and you don't have any money. You know, it's not, you're not taking that $30 and turning it into $60 with a free game. You're just spending $30. Be patient. You'll find deals. You can find this stuff at yard sales and flea markets. Hell, I came across a nice Saturn lot before at flea markets and yard sales themselves. It's not common, but it can happen. And of course, you can always game hunt on eBay and Mercari themselves. You've seen a lot of those videos where I come across lots like that. I'm able to make my money back and, you know, keep some games and profit most of the time. And then moving down here into my small Dreamcast collection, but I do got some really nice notable titles right here. If you have not played Shenmue, voiced by Leonard Nimoy, my God, do yourself a favor and play it. Oh, we're getting into some good stuff now, guys. This is one of the biggest changes that I had, and that's just to be able to display nicely my complete unboxed stuff that I have. I got a handful of Super Nintendo games here, as you can see. We got some really notable titles, obviously Harvest Moon, Kirby's Dream Land 3. I just put Magic Sword up there just because I didn't really have room. There's some better titles in with the complete unboxed stuff. But I'm just happy to be able to display this stuff. I was not able to before. And, you know, as some people know, in my old game room, I actually didn't have room for complete unboxed stuff. So anytime I would get the box and manual, I'd sell it. I'd just keep the carts. And ever since I moved here, I can actually start getting this stuff. So this is only about like a year and a half, 2 years worth of collecting complete unboxed stuff that I've gotten from, you know, yard sales or flea markets. Moving over here to the right, you've got the classic Quick Shot 12. I mean, it's a nice little joystick. Does well for some of the shooter games for the NES. But again, I'm not the biggest shooter fan. I know a lot of people might get upset with that. It's just the way it is. Shooters I've never been great at. Moving down here, we're going to start going into the N64 stuff, which is my pride and joy in collecting. It's one of the few sets that I feel like I can actually, you know, actively seek and get. I don't know how many games I'm lacking now, about 30 or 40 games. Obviously, I'm not going to go for a complete unboxed set, but any complete unboxed game or box game that I can get, I'm not going to argue. But for the games themselves, I'm perfectly happy with using the end labels that you see right here, because it makes it look so much nicer and makes it easier to pick out games. And I'm getting close to that set. I'm getting down to some of the harder stuff, obviously. I got some few heavy hitters, but, you know, I'm not going to be one of those guys that gets sculptors cut, because I don't give a damn. I got, you know, Clay Fighter 63 and a third. Guess what? That's good enough for me. You can keep that extra level, what other perk you got, and hold on to it while I take that $400 game and get me something that I'm going to play more than once. You know, but once I get the 296 games minus that game, I don't know. I don't think that's part of the official set. Hell, I could be wrong. I'll be happy with it. But anyways, that N64 set is looking fantastic. Alright guys, so we're going to move on to my original Xbox collection, which, as a lot of people know, I'm a huge fan of anything Xbox. So this is one system that I definitely love collecting for. So this collection is definitely one of my bigger ones. I'm very proud of it. The original Xbox is one of the systems where, you know, if I don't have it, I will pick it up. I don't mind growing this one. It's one system I don't see myself trying to condense in the future. A lot of people always ask me, like, why I was such a big fan with the original Xbox. And I guess you can, you know, say the same for, you know, the Xbox One X the way it is now. You know, not like 90% of all your games are going to be third-party games, so I'd much rather have them, you know, play and perform on a superior system. That's how I became a fan of the Xbox, because at the time it was the most powerful console that was, you know, available. And then, you know, just going with that, you know, playing the exclusives, you know, Stubbs of Zombie, things like that. I just grew to be a huge Xbox fan, and then went on to the 360 and, of course, the Xbox One. And when the Xbox One X came out, obviously that is my go-to machine. It's the most superior out of, you know, the Switch and the PlayStation 4. Now, I definitely cannot argue that the PlayStation 4 has, you know, amazing exclusives, you know, that Xbox does not offer. But for 90% of all games that you're going to play, which are going to be, you know, third-party games, I'd much rather have them be on a superior machine that's going to look and perform a lot better. But as you can see, this original Xbox collection, this one's taken me, you know, many years to get as far as it has now. I haven't been as actively seeking original Xbox games. Sure, I'll pick them up if, you know, I see them, but it's not something that I'm eagerly going for. Moving on down, if you can remember those weird 201, you know, sometimes they'd be like 2001 games, you know, little handheld systems out there. I know a lot of people remember those, you know, sneaking them into school and whatnot. That actually, they make them older than that one, I believe. But pick them up if you find them at yard sales and flea markets. They actually sell pretty well. But moving on down, I love collecting like weird, just Xbox paraphernalia, just, odds and ends. Like I said, I'm an Xbox fan, so why not, get everything that I can find for it. Now, I don't want to get too crazy deep down and personal on the bottom floor here, but I do got some Famicom and Super Famicom games, as well as some DK bongos. You got to have those. I do got another set in the closet. The original Xbox starter kit is actually a very awesome find. You don't see that too often, with the box. And behind that, I do have my Atari collection. You got the 26. I don't have any complete box 5200 games, I don't believe. And there are a couple 7800 as well. That is a collection, like I told you guys about, I may end up considering getting rid of. It's just a collection that I don't play often at all, if really any. Maybe once or twice a year, if someone's over, we might pull it out and mess around with it. But I'd much rather have that floor space and then something else that I know that I'm going to be playing, more often, or something that I'd love in its place. Right above that, I got some complete in box Game Boy games. I don't find those that often, so the ones that I do get, I try to hold on to them. There's a few junk ones in there, but what can you do when you find them? Moving to the right of that, I got my Panasonic 3DO collection. Not a huge collection, but there are a few decent titles in there. And then beside that, the complete in box Sega Dreamcast, keyboard, which is absolutely required for typing of the dead, which is amazing. And one of the most important things in the game room to me is this bag right here. This is completely like chock full. I'm actually going to have to get another bag soon, filled with just letters, and kind words that you guys have sent in, over the past few years, and I save them. They mean a lot to me, and I couldn't be more appreciative to anybody that's ever done that. Right in front of the original Xbox games, as you can see, because I wanted to design this game room with like an aisle type, space to it. I got this other stack of box consoles here. These were sent in. These are wild. Look at these Pac-Man roller skates. This was from a buddy of mine, Will, who sent those in. And they're neat as hell. I don't ever see myself going out, in the roller rink and, popping squats around the circle with those, but they are cool to have. Right behind that, I have the Rob Deluxe set, which the box is actually in almost mint condition. It's got a little bit of wear to one side of it on the corner, actually, you can see right there. But other than that, the thing's complete. Very nice. I actually have Rob at the very top here. You can kind of see him poking back behind that Turbo Express box. But coming up, we had a lunchbox here, just random lunchbox. My wife gave me a Pac-Man lunchbox. Atari Lynx, which I have the Lynx over here on the shelf, so where it's complete. This is actually a brand new zapper. It's open, but it's never been used. Box for Game Boy, original Game Boy. We got a couple DS boxes, PS2, Dreamcast, and two that I never thought I would get, the TurboGrafx Express and the TurboGrafx itself. My God, I'm very happy to have those in the collection. Behind that, I have the Ouya, which is another, console I'm actually considering getting rid of. I have no use for an Ouya. They took off the servers online for them, so I'm sure you can, hack them and download what you need to them, but the hell do I need an Ouya for? And then right across here from the original Xbox, I thought it was neat to have the PlayStation 2 right in front of the original Xbox. On top, I got a few random loose Atari 2600 games, as well as I do have some on the floor that you saw earlier. Coming down, I got a small but decent Philips CDI collection, a TurboGrafx collection, which I'm very happy to actually have, as many games as I do. It's a very hard system to collect for, and in this is actually where I keep loose Hue cards. I actually got quite a few in there. That is one system I could never see myself parting with. I am having so much fun with it, and I'm very happy I started getting into it. But to give you a quick overview of the PlayStation 2 games, this is one collection that I have toned down quite a bit. I'm not the biggest PlayStation fan. I have nothing against them. I love trying out the exclusives that I haven't tried before. But at the same time, I got love for other systems versus the PlayStation 2. I know people are going to hate me for it, but I just have goals, and the PlayStation 2 is not one of them. It's a huge library, and, I am missing, so many exclusives already for it. But, I'll pick up the ones that I want to play as I go. One thing that I really love about PlayStation that I find more on this system more than anything is the big box stuff. The Devil May Cry 5th Anniversary Edition or the Onimusha. I got the Resident Evil, set as well. I love that fact. I love big box things like that or collector sets. I think they look really nice on a shelf. And it's a good way to have all the good titles all in one. Now, as we move down all the way down here to the bottom, I'm not going to break my back again. My back can't handle as much. Getting a little dark in here. So I don't want to spend too much time in the closet, but I will tell you what we got in here. So as we come in, I know people are going to say, man, that shelf is bowed down. Trust me, I know it. I don't know what the hell happened. It's lined up over here and it's lined up on the other side. I don't know. Maybe it just started to... I don't know. I'll mess with it one day. All the other shelves are alright, but for that one particular, that's going to bug the hell out of me until I fix it. But it is what it is. So moving on over here to the left, the 360 collection I've toned down a little bit, but this is a collection that I don't mind, keeping as well, just like the original Xbox. There's something you don't see too often is the 360 HDD drive in the back right there. I'll never have a use for it, but hell, why not hold on to it and let it collect dust in the back of this closet. Moving on down, we do got the Gears of War box set right here, as well as the Halo 3. I'm not the biggest Halo fan, honestly. I'm over here dropping stuff. But, I can appreciate it for what it is. I know people will be like, you're an Xbox fan, you don't like Halo. It's not that I don't like it. It's just I don't like it as much as people who like Halo like it, if that makes sense. And then as we get down here to this bottom row, that's when it starts to go in. And people are going to be so shocked when they see this right here. You want to see my modern collection? This is really it. That's all the Xbox One titles and the Switch title, or not Switch, but the Wii U and PlayStation 4 titles I have. The reason for that is I don't keep games. If I buy them new, I'm going to play them, beat them, and then I'm going to sell them, and then I'll get them, 3 years down the road at a yard sale for $1 and throw it on my shelf if I want to play it again. Which a lot of times I do. And I have a lot of digital games as well. If there's games that I know I'm going to, want to constantly play until I die, things like Red Dead Redemption 2 or GTA 5, games like that, I don't mind buying them digitally. But when it comes to something that I'm going to play once, I'll buy it new and then I'll sell it and then get it again at a yard sale for $1. So right below all these 360 games, as you can see here, that's when it starts my PlayStation 3 collection. Not a huge collection. Like I said, I only go for the exclusives for it. I'll collect the third party on the 360. But I do got some nice titles in there. Coming to the right, I have a decent collection of, video game related movies, DVDs, that sort of thing. I'm not actively seeking them, but when I do find them at thrift stores and whatnot, I like to pick them up. Right below those, I have a slew of sports and just random filler games for the Sega Genesis. I don't want to put these on the shelves. I don't really want to, I want my collection for the Sega to look, a lot better than a bunch of filler games. So I kind of hid these off to the side. I actually got a buddy of mine who's picking out a handful of these. This is just going along the lines of, collecting things that I want for certain systems versus just everything, that I don't have, which turns into leaving them in the closet for no one to see. And then moving over here to the left, this is where we're going to get into my Nintendo Power Collection, my strategy guides, or just random video game related books, which I have quite a few of. I'm not crazy about, having these displayed or anything, but for the Nintendo Powers, the ones that have posters, I almost always take them out if it's something that's interesting to me, or if it's something that I want displayed. I'll cut that thing out with a razor blade and I'll hang it up, and people will be like, man, you're absolutely crazy. How the hell am I crazy versus letting it sit in this closet so no one can see because you want to preserve the damn thing? Hell, I want it to be seen and appreciated. I'm not scared to do it. People can hate me for it, but, that's the life that I live. It's dangerous. But anyways, all jokes aside, I love collecting strategy guides. I never really used strategy guides. I was never one of those people. I have nothing against it, but I do like, it's kind of like watching like a recap of a movie when you look at a strategy guide, and if you really don't know if you want to play the game, just open up a strategy guide, go through it, and you may say to yourself, oh man, I got to dive back into this game. Anytime I want to replay a Zelda, that's usually all it takes. I'll go through one of the Zelda guides, and I'll just be like, oh god, I gotta redo this game for the 50th time. And then over here to the left, something that's gotten quite out of hand. This box right here is just filled with PlayStation 2 and original Xbox demos. Oh my god, I got demos kind of like hidden all over the place. I don't know why the hell I like collecting them. One of these days I will organize those and kind of make them look decent. But until that day, they're just kind of shoved in this box, in embarrassment. So no one knows about my crazy addictions when it comes to collecting. Alright guys, that is it. Oh my goodness. It's hard to do these tours. You don't realize how much you actually got to talk. I know I'm going to have to edit, probably like an hour and a half's worth of me blabbering. And I know I've already went over the 20-30 minute goal that I wanted to do. But I hope y'all enjoyed this game room tour. You can see that the game room is here. It's not going anywhere, and it's going to have, improvements and changes throughout the years. And it's just fun to see how far it's gone. I look back on the older videos, and it's just crazy to see the progression that I've made in my game collecting life. So with that said, to everybody out in this wonderful world, take care and enjoy the rest of your day.